Hey, welcome to another episode of the Fit Growth Machine podcast. I'm Brian Roisentul, your host, and today I have Liz Downing. She's the Senior Manager of Partnerships and Events at Teikametrics. Before talking to her, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by BSR Digital. At BSR Digital, we help e-commerce brands that want to scale their business to the next level through Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. Yes, even after the iOS 14 update. Now more than ever, we need to understand that it's really important to level up the marketing and design a solid strategy, as what used to work doesn't anymore. So if your e-commerce brand lacks a solid plan and professional team to increase sales, we can help the same way we have helped more than 1,000 brands like yours for over a decade. To learn more, you can visit us at bsrdigital.com, and you can also email us at hello@bsrdigital.com. Now, as promised, I have Liz here with me. Hey, Liz, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. So why don't you start by telling the audience more about your story?
Okie doke. Well, so I am the Senior Manager of Events and Partnerships at Teikametrics, but I joined Teikametrics in August 2020, but my e-commerce journey started before that. So prior to Teikametrics, I worked at eCommerce, which is a great software provider that's legacy in this space. They've been around forever. They've been helping sellers since like 2004. So it was after that, I was a freelance writer. I had a freelance writing business for a long time. I have a master's degree in literature, for Pete's sake. But I had somebody from eCommerce reach out to me and say, hey, can you edit this ebook? And it was about communications you should send to your Amazon customers. And I said, wait a minute, anybody can sell on Amazon? So I got really, really interested. I started working for a seller that was a friend of a friend that I could hook eCommerce software tools up to their Seller Central account and learned how to, the inside of Seller Central and how to create a listing, how to create a shipment, all that kind of stuff. And I ended up working for eCommerce full-time in business development and learned so much. What a great organization. And so started that in August 2016. So I've been full-time e-commerce. And I traveled the land talking about product reviews and how to ask for product reviews in a compliant way. And it's funny because in August, I'm going to team up with Colleen Quattlebaum at eCommerce to talk about product reviews some more, because Amazon's had some very interesting news lately about product reviews, cracking down on Facebook groups that are gaming product reviews and that kind of stuff. So it's still timely. It's still a hot button for a lot of brands and sellers on Amazon, every brand and seller on Amazon. So I sort of came into e-commerce sideways, but I've been all in ever since then. I'm obsessed with the industry. I just want to help. And so what I do at Teikametrics is I work on events, both online and in-person events, and I work on partnerships. So we'll get to this in a little while, I think, but who do you need to know in the industry to make sure your business is optimized? Teikametrics obviously helps you optimize your advertising on Amazon and Walmart and soon other platforms. But beyond advertising, what do you need to know about the industry in order to be successful? I try to enable brands with that information.
That's awesome. I mean, 2016, you said, that's a long time. And I think that it was a totally different world back then. And, context for the industry, for the world, for everything, right? So as as the years go on, we get like new tools like Teikametrics that are available for every brand that can leverage that. And Teikametrics is not any like other tool. You guys leverage AI, right?
Yeah, we do. We do. We actually just had an event about that I'm going to give you a link to the replay for the show notes. But the future of technology for e-commerce is just so exciting and so astounding. But we found that in order to perform the tasks that need to be performed to truly optimize advertising, we had to leverage data science and AI to help make the right decisions, to pull the right levers, to make the most success possible. So, but our sweet spot really is our technology plus the human touch. So we do have a managed services department that will use the tool with your online platforms and then deliver really, really great results. But we also have a self-serve tool, and we've just recently launched Flywheel 2, which is pulling in a lot of marketplace insights. It's giving you a lot of competitor analysis. It's giving you Amazon and Walmart on the same dashboard so that you can get a true idea of down to SKU profitability and lots of insights that you haven't been able to get anywhere else. So we're super excited about that. And, not to be overly promotional, but if you need to talk to somebody, let me know, or we'll put a link.
Yeah, that's great. And just to clarify for the audience, this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is for brands that are using Walmart and or Amazon. Is that correct?
Right. So it's the on Amazon, on Walmart native advertising products.
Excellent.
So we were the first API partner for Walmart, which is a fun fact about us. But we've also been working with Amazon's API for a number of years now. And we love having conversations with them about what's working, what's not. We like sharing data with both of those platforms. We're also looking to go multi-channel. So we're looking at adding a number of other platforms really soon. But right now our core focus is Amazon and Walmart, but it is those, Amazon sponsored products, Amazon sponsored brands, it's all those different ad products that the two, I mean, Walmart not as many as Amazon, but Amazon just keeps coming up with more, right? So now we had DSP, and that hit the world by storm, and now people that don't even sell on Amazon can use DSP and STV, which they used to call OTT, but that's the streaming where you're watching streaming TV. What used to be IMTV and now is Freevee, I think, but there are certain streaming channels that have advertisements that you can't skip. And that's, Amazon. That's Amazon making that happen. So that's exciting for me to see. And I never get mad when I get one of those ads because I'm like, yeah.
And
That's
what
one of my favorite.
services do you guys provide these brands with?
I'm
How do you
sorry.
help them? How do you help these brands? Do you help them with the automation of their ad campaigns? How do you help them? You mentioned something about the competitor analysis and
Yeah. So we take a look at what you've been doing with advertising, but we can also open doors to, like, for instance, DSP has like a $35,000 buy-in if you're just a singular advertiser and you're leveraging the platform yourself. But if you work with a partner like us, you don't have that buy-in. So you can just like start using that ad format. But what we do is we help you understand the different types of ads that are available to you. Because obviously, if you're not brand registered, then all you've got are sponsored products. So how do we make the most out of your sponsored products campaigns if that's all you've got? But we do encourage you to get brand registered, because why not? You should. There's so many cool things involved with brand registry. But what we do is we take a look at what you've been doing, and then we do an opportunity analyzer to let you know where the opportunities are, where there are keywords that you might be wasting money on, where there are keywords that you're not taking advantage of, and a competitor analysis to let you know what competitors are, actually using your brand names or your product names, and what the competitive landscape is like. Because now there are different ads where competitors can slide right on to other competitors' listings. The sponsored video ads can just show up right on somebody's product detail page. So it's a wild world, and we help you figure out how to navigate it in a cost-effective way, but in a way that gets you seen, because that's the whole name of the game on Amazon. It's the competition is fierce. Amazon's one of your biggest competitors, but how do you differentiate yourself and get your products in front of shoppers, especially when we've got this whole new generation, both an older generation and a younger generation, that are now shopping online. We're actually talking tomorrow in a webinar that I'm doing with a bunch of my industry friends. We're actually talking about the state of exits and what's changed in an aggregator's wish list over the last couple of months, because it is vastly different than it used to be. And not all aggregators are actually actively purchasing brands right now. But we're going to be talking about the lasting impact of COVID-19 and how buyer behavior changed in 2020. And then the expectation we had from 2020 into 2021, and how it was not what we thought it would be. But, why is that a surprise to anybody? Because the landscape keeps changing. It changes with what's going on in the world. It changes with the economy. It changes with the price of food and gas, changes with supply chain issues, right? I mean, it used to be 2-day shipping, sometimes 1-day shipping, sometimes same day shipping, guaranteed on Amazon. And you go shop on Amazon now and anything, even Amazon's own items, I mean, you're lucky to get 2-day shipping. It's just a
Yep.
different world we're living in right now. So I have smart people smarter than me that are going to be talking about, and it's going to be done by the time this airs. So we'll give you a replay link to that. But it's just interesting to try to predict what's going to happen in the future when things have been so mercurial so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is an ongoing conversation with our clients on the the constantly changing scenarios and contexts. Many companies are doing like the forecast for, or they were doing at the beginning of the year, the forecast for 2022, trying to use the numbers from 2020 or 2021. They got probably back then really high or way higher than now conversion rates on the website. On their case, uh, they were getting like cheaper costs, CPMs or cost per thousand impressions, cost per conversions, higher demand, and probably things are contracting a little bit depending on the industry. For some, it's accelerating. I was talking to many businesses in the furniture space or home decor, and people probably they are not buying houses or moving or making big moves in their life. So probably they say, oh, let's remodel the current house or apartment, right? So every industry is seeing something different, but definitely there are a lot of things going on right now. As you mentioned, inflation, economy, supply chain, many things going on. So it's great that you don't only offer them the ability to leverage AI with everything that represents, but you also keep them up to date and informed through your webinars, right? So you mentioned that you're doing this one. Do you do more? Are they open to the public, or are they
Oh
just
gosh.
customers?
Yeah. Yeah, we are all about putting the content out there. So Cameron Yoder, who is a great talent that we have in the marketing department, he's the senior manager of content and community. This year started doing multi-day, multi-hour virtual events. We had AdMax back in January, which was all about advertising. And then we had Marketplace Madness. It was all about selling on different marketplaces. We're gearing up for World of Walmart, which is going to be completely Walmart focused, 3 hours on August the 18th. So we'll put a registration link in here for that. But we are getting a lot of questions about Walmart. One of the biggest questions we're getting from brands is, how do I get started on Walmart, or how do I get approved for Walmart? Or once I get on Walmart, what should I do? How is Walmart different than Amazon? I mean, I think one of our most popular pieces of content that we created is Walmart versus Amazon. What's the difference? Because people want to know, okay, if I'm going to go sell there, first of all, is my product going to do well there? And second of all, how do I do it? And how do I do it effectively? Because it's already more competitive than it was a year ago, 6 months ago, actually. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
things are
and that's
changing.
yeah, and that's why it's important now more than ever to understand what your competitors are doing, right? And if you're going after, I don't know, your brand terms for keywords or something else, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like to talk about having a full holistic view of your business, right? So it's important to understand how advertising impacts your sales on Amazon and Walmart. It's important to understand what your competitors are doing and how to stay ahead of the competition. It's also important to understand that I have a lot of brands that come to me and say, how come my sales have fallen off? Why isn't my advertising working? And I take a look and I say, well, you're out of stock on your best-selling SKUs. Oh yeah, I am, but I'm going to fix that. And I'm like, well, you can't expect your sales to be great if you're not in stock for the thing that people like to buy the most. And it's not like people are dumb. It's just that it's really easy to get tunnel vision and focus on one thing and not step back and take a whole. That's why a lot of educators in the space right now are focusing on operational advice. They're focusing on, like, what do you start with to make your business successful? What are the levers you need to pull in each category of, like, is your seller health okay on Amazon, right? Is your ODR rate where it needs to be? Is your seller feedback all right? Do you have more product reviews than your competitor? In terms of your inventory, do you have stranded inventory? Are you running out of stock about anything? Do you have aged inventory that you need to move via, a coupon or move it to a different channel? I was just at a conference where Chelsea Cohen from So Stocked was talking about Amazon removal, and what's the best thing to do when you've got too much stock and you need to do something about it. So I suggest that you talk to her because she's really smart. But um there are so many things to think about. And I feel like I've been preaching this since 2016, but there are so many things to think about. You can't just focus on one thing and let everything else go. It's a lot, but it's important to understand the building blocks of your business and make sure you're aligned with your business goals and make sure you're doing the things you need to do to keep your business running from morning until night. Like we have a lot of people that come to us and they were running out of budget for their ads at like 10 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't do anybody any good because there are plenty of shoppers after 10 o'clock in the morning, right? So that's a really good tiny example of keeping your day-to-day running in a way that is most beneficial to your profitability.
Exactly. And every business needs to know when it's the right time for them to ask for help, right? And when they need to upgrade their, I don't know, their advertising on Amazon or Walmart, and I don't know, leverage some tools, in this case yours or somebody else's, right? But it's something they should know, right? So for example, I don't know, you mentioned a few examples, but running out of budget or out of stock, it could be that, I don't know, somebody else reports your item as an adult product or something like that, right? Some, I don't know, your account could get suspended, and your revenue will, you will see a break in revenue, and that's not good for any business, right?
Right. So that's so I work in partnerships, and people joke that I know everybody, but I don't know everybody. I know a lot of people, but that's one of the things that I love so much about this industry. I love working with brands and sellers. I love that entrepreneurial journey. I love digging in and finding out the why behind somebody created a certain product. That's like my favorite thing. But I also love this e-commerce community. The service providers here care about the seller community. They care about fairness for the seller community. They care about advocacy. They care about support. And we all work together to try to, through these webinars and virtual events. Yes, they're free because we want people to have the information. And so many other people in the industry are like that as well. You look at the content that people put out for free on LinkedIn. You follow, other advertising people. You follow Destiny with Sean from Better at AMS. She gives nuggets of gold like almost every single day. I probably have a list of 100 people in the industry with different, talents and capabilities that I could give to you guys that would just completely, you'd spend all day just reading things and going, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Because that's what I do. I spend every day in constant amazement by the brilliant minds that surround me in this industry. So knowing who to ask for help is it's a really important thing. But the cool thing about it is that for sellers and brand owners in this industry, you have the resources. They're out there. And they're giving away stuff for free. They will talk to you for free. They want to meet with you at events. They want to take you to dinner. They want you to come to meetups. People have these free meetups all the time. Chris McCabe has a free meetup in Boston. He just had one last week. Carlos Alvarez with the Wizards of Ecom and the Central Florida meetup group in Miami. It's expanding all over Florida. He's got Vanessa in Fort Lauderdale. Now there's Tampa going on. It's amazing what he's doing. And that's all just there for you to soak up all this knowledge so that you can know all the things that you need. But there are also people that are specialists that can help you solve problems in your business. So you don't have to do everything all by yourself. It's just important to know who's out there. So watching podcasts like this, listening to different podcasts, paying attention to webinars, or just signing up for them and watching them later. looking at the white papers that people put out. There are people in this industry that put out amazing content. I mentioned Ecom Engine earlier. Their content is always completely on point. Their newsletter is great. We've got a great newsletter called Page One. I'll give a link to that Madeline Dutton writes. And we're just trying to put it out there so that everybody's got the reason. Because I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be a successful brand on Amazon, on Walmart, even beyond that. I mean, every single marketplace. I've had listings on Poshmark for like a month now, and I'm like, what is wrong with you people? I mean, it's competitive. It's competitive, and there are lots of resources out there to help you. And if you need help finding them, I will help you for totally free.
That's awesome. That's great. Every
You guys are
again,
all very excited about that.
yeah, no worries, no worries. That's great that you guys do that. And to you guys listening, remember that you can go to the show notes and grab every single thing that we are mentioning here, every resource, webinar, everything is there, or should be. If you cannot find anything, or if you cannot find something, sorry, just let us know, contact us, and we will put that available in case that's not there. Yeah, I have one of like some final question for you. It's you can find your audiences in many places, right? We talked about Walmart, we talked about Amazon. What's the probably some other places that people can go to find their audience and interact with them?
Okay, so let's go back to Amazon because DSP is a great way to find to find and then target audience. So can't say enough good stuff about that. Although it's not my favorite ad product, but we'll talk about that at a different time. But I'm talking to a lot of brands that are seeing really exciting things happen with TikTok. Right now, TikTok's kind of the Wild West, right? I mean, it's been around a while, but there are influencers there that are not really, really expensive influencers, right? And you can contact them. If you follow them, you can send them a message. It's not like Instagram, where Instagram's old enough now and there are algorithms in place and it's owned by Facebook. And there's all this hullabaloo about Facebook influencers and Instagram influencers getting kicked off the platform when they start making enough money. And it's complicated there, but TikTok's a simpler place, even though to people like me who are older, it seems very daunting. But I'm talking to a lot of brands that are seeing success finding influencers on TikTok. And that's the biggest question I get, Brian, is how do I find influencers? Like, I don't need a Kardashian. I would like a micro influencer with a decent audience that will talk honestly about my product. Like, where do I find that? And there are companies that do it, but honestly, what I tell people is like, go find your wish list, start paying attention to content that's out there. Sorry about that. And find somebody that you're interested in and make an honest introduction, rather than what happens on Instagram, which is somebody slides into your DMs and they're like, contact us now and have free sunglasses for life. And you're like, I don't really need free sunglasses for life. And I'm pretty sure this is a scam, but the conversations that I see happening on TikTok are a lot more authentic. And I think that it's not just a kids platform. There's a lot of content that's being created there that's good for brands and it's good for brand awareness.
Yeah, and you would be surprised I mean, of the response that you can get if you knock on the doors. If you knock on somebody's door and they will reply. Sometimes they will say, "Hey, I'm too busy right now," or "Probably it's not a good time," or "Probably I don't know, I'm not interested," or "It costs this money." But they will reply, and I got people. For example, I don't know. We are talking about podcast guests. I don't know. They have had I don't know, like you know, TV famous, people by only asking and reaching out and saying, "Hey, I would love to have you on," right? And they will reply. Maybe they say, "Hey, this is my schedule, and you have to schedule for I don't know a year from now or 6 months from now," and they might cancel once or twice. That's life, my friends, right? So, but we need to keep being persistent and reach out and probably overall have a strategy, right? These are the channels that we are going to leverage. So, for instance, it could be Amazon, it could be Walmart, it could be, I don't know, anything else. Do you know? I don't know if you know this, but do your clients typically work on some other channels to get traffic and sales besides Amazon and or Walmart?
Some of our bigger brands are on Wayfair. We actually have a couple smaller brands on Wayfair too. And we've got some people that are on Target Plus. I know it's invite only, but they've been invited. So we're working on a one-on-one basis through that and trying to identify the channels that make the most sense for, the most amount of people, but we're also supporting individual brands in the ways they need to be supported. And that's why it's nice that we have that personal touch so that we're able to pivot and do that for customers that need it. So I don't know if I was supposed to say that or not, but it's actually what's happening. So we approach every seller and brand owner on a case by case basis. We don't apply a one size fits all like taco strategy or ROAS strategy or CPC, cost strategy. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different budget. Everybody's got different goals, and it's going to work different we've got lots of brands that are in the same category too, lots in every category. And that's why we're able to put out the kind of benchmark data that we do, because we have a lot of data to work with. Like a lot of data to work with, but we don't approach every supplement brand the same. We don't approach every beauty brand the same. We just don't. That's not our philosophy. Our philosophy is to help every seller and brand owner be more successful in their e-commerce journey. That's what we're here for. That our founder and CEO, Alistair McLean Foreman, started out as an Amazon seller out of his dorm room at Harvard in 2003. He was one of the first third-party marketplace sellers. And he's always been, how do we make it better? How do we make it faster? How do we make it more accurate? And how do we give more information so people can make better decisions? That's just how he operates. So it's really easy for all of us to like, okay, that's the kind of content that we need to create. For the product team, okay, that's the kind of product we need to create. So it's all very easy here at Teikametrics to just follow the company mission, because our whole mission is here to help every seller and brand owner be successful.
It's awesome. This was a really interesting conversation. And to wrap up, I always like to ask the guest about their favorite books and or mentors they might have had. So do you have any to share with the audience?
You just asked a literature major what their favorite book was, and I know you mean business books, so I'll stick to business. I read a lot of books about writing because I was a freelance writer for so long, and I still have a freelance business on the side. I did really enjoy The Amazon Jungle, which is Jason Boyce's book from Avenue 7 Media. It tells about his whole journey, like having a business, an e-commerce business with his brothers and selling on Amazon and exiting that business and the decision to run an agency. And he's one of my favorite people in the industry. I've learned a lot from him. And there are all these inspirational books that everybody wants to read, like the new, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's one of my favorites. Doesn't exactly hold up 100%, but fun reading. And you can learn some things for it. The Habits of Highly
It's a
Successful
pretty old
People.
book, though, to be fair, right? It's like, I don't know, it was written in the early, I don't know, 1920, 1930s, right?
How to Win Friends.
Yeah.
So Dale Carnegie wrote that published in 1936.
Yeah.
So it's fun that human nature is such that some of the tips in there are still relevant today, but some of the tactics might need to be revisited
Yeah.
if you're actually going to put it into action. But I like to read about being efficient, because I'm not by nature a very efficient person. So I do like content like that. I do read Tim Ferriss's 5 Bullet Friday every time. And sometimes I'm like, I can't relate to you, Tim. And other times I'm like, yeah, that's pretty right on. Thanks for that. So I'm getting into podcasts, but I'm mainly listening to entertainment stuff. So in terms of people who have influenced me in the industry, obviously I'm highly influenced by Alistair here, and he's the reason I'm here. But the team at Ecom Engine was just such a wonderful introduction to this industry. Jay Lagarde was like one of the people to just like break out and become a great seller, and then decide he needed a type of software for himself. And that founder type, developed software just like I have right here. is always the best because it was created by a seller with a seller in mind. And that's really, it's fun to watch the evolution of that. So he's great. Carlene Quattlebaum, who's the director of marketing there, got me after over a decade of working for myself. And I do not envy her at all, but she actually helped me get back up to speed so that I was a little more organized and a little more accountable for my lack of organization. So I'll always be grateful to her for that. And Yoni Mazur from Gatita, anytime I have a question about anything, he will take the time to talk to me about it. But like, I don't have time to talk about all the fantastic people that I admire in this industry that have helped me along the way. Chris McCabe has helped me so much. Yeah, I could go on for a really long
No
time.
worries, no worries. It's great to give a shout out to everyone, or probably some of those people who have helped you along the way in your career. Of course, it's great that you have a lot of people to mention, because it means that you have been blessed to be, surrounded by such an amazing, team that helped you grow as a professional. So that's
Well,
awesome.
and anybody I've mentioned in this episode is somebody who's influenced me. So, and then if you watch, actually, I have a series at Teikametrics called The Cool Kids of eCommerce, where I interview my friends in the industry. I was waiting on another project and I just decided I'm going to start recording these little interviews. I was actually taking a cue from Yoni's Prime Talk, but I decided not to go like deep dive into people's like fourth grade experiences. Kidding, Yoni. I know that's not what you do. But I just decided to do like little 15-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute interviews. And those are some of my favorite people up in there. So we'll put a link to that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll do. Where can people go to learn more about you and the company?
The Teikametrics.com. So it's Teikametrics.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Liz Downing. Maybe I'm Elizabeth. No, I'm Liz. I changed it to Liz because people got confused. My real name's Elizabeth. Don't tell
No
anybody.
worries.
No.
The link is in the show notes anyway, so people will find
Yeah,
it.
so we'll put a link to my LinkedIn, but you can also find me at a number of industry conferences and always at Prosper Show. This is my last year on the advisory council there, but I'm always at Prosper Show. You can't miss it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Can't miss that. So thanks, Lisa, a lot for being on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation. So yeah.
Thanks, Brian.